I've designed over 400 landing pages in over 80 niches, and through all of that experience, I've learned what's actually important when it comes to your landing page. So in this video, I'll be revealing my top 40 pieces of advice when it comes to designing a killer landing page that'll get you more leads and sales no matter what niche or industry you're in. Your landing page is never one and done. There's always more juice to squeeze. The biggest companies in the world like Amazon and Booking.com are literally running thousands of tests every single month, even though their pages are already converting well. We work with clients on both the e-commerce side and the B2B side that we've already gotten to 5 to 7% conversion rates, yet we're still running several A/B tests for them every single month. Every single touch point on your landing page can be optimized further, whether it's a CTA, the offer, the copy, the design, the layout. Even the smallest changes can make massive improvements in your conversions. You can't fix a bad offer with good design, but you can kill a good offer with bad design. 46% of people make judgments about your brand's credibility just based on your landing page design alone. I personally seen massive increases in our clients' conversion rates just by taking what they already have and making it look more visually pleasing and also improving the navigation. People don't read, they scan. People will only read 20% of the content on your website. The other 80%, they just scan. People are just looking through your page and they're trying to find information quickly and efficiently. You need to structure your landing page in a way that's actually easy to scan. Use things like headings, bullet points, and bold text. But imagine if somebody only reads the headlines on your website alone. Is it actually clear what your value prop is just based on the headlines? What's the one thing that people should know at a glance? Whatever that is, make that front and center on your landing page. Use imagery with intent and don't use fillers and fluff. When it comes to designing a high converting landing page, images play a massive role. As humans, we're naturally visual creatures. The human brain will process images much faster than it processes text. What I often see is brands just use images that have no correlation whatsoever to their company, and it doesn't even explain what it is they do or who they actually are. We create custom graphics and animations for our clients all the time that really helps people visualize what the product or service actually is, but it also subtly communicates their value prop simultaneously. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Proven layouts work for a reason. Lots of people get bogged down in what the design of their landing page should look like and how to map out everything. They're thinking, how should I design my hero section? Where should my CTA button go? What copy do I use? How do I design this section? The reality is that you can save a huge chunk of time by just taking a proven landing page framework that already works and then start iterating from there once you collect more data. We literally have a proven landing page framework, which is all inside of a Figma file, which will literally tell you what to actually do for every single section and how to structure your page from top to bottom. I'll put a link in the description below that you can copy and paste for your own business. Copying competitors will always fail. This is something that I see a lot of business owners trying to do, and it often leaves them struggling. Their audience is not your audience. Their value prop is not your value prop. Even worse, when you copy a competitor, you're always going to be one step behind. Instead of trying to mirror what your competitors are doing, focus on what your customers actually want. Focus on their needs, their pain points, and really center your landing page design around that. True success comes from differentiation, not from duplication. Data is your best friend when it comes to designing landing pages. If you're not analyzing data on your landing page, you're leaving a ton of money on the table. Data is what drives decisions. It's going to shape your strategies, and it's basically going to tell you what is working and what's not working. Lots of people make the mistake of focusing on conversions and traffic. Go a level deeper and install a tool called Microsoft Clarity on your site. You can actually watch recordings of people on your site. You can see exactly where they scroll, where they click, and you can track all of that interaction. Then you can use this data to identify what's working and what's not, and then further optimize from there. 90% of your efforts should be on the above the fold of your landing page. This is the topmost section of any landing page, and it's the only section that 100% of people will see, but it's also the only section that 60% of people statistically will never scroll past. I've done a lot of videos extensively on what makes a good above the fold, but at a high level, you need a compelling value proposition that really articulates that end outcome or benefit. You need a clear call to action button, you need social proof above the fold, and you need an image that really reinforces and complements your value prop. Here's an example of a before and after hero section that we did for a client that led to a 64% increase in conversions, and here's another one that led to a 132% increase in leads and conversions. Customer data is the most valuable data. Using tools like Microsoft Clarity can only get you so far. It can tell you where people are clicking, but it doesn't tell you the why. That's why for any landing page engagement we do, we always combine Microsoft Clarity with a tool called UserBrain. UserBrain is basically a user testing tool that lets you get qualitative feedback from your customers. You can literally ask your ideal customers, what is their first impression upon landing on your page? You're effectively getting direct customer feedback, which is an absolute gold mine when it comes to data. Good design matters despite the narrative that pretty doesn't always sell. According to Swear, 38% of people will completely stop engaging with the website if the layout or design is unattractive. There was a study done by Stanford that found that 46% of people will judge a brand's credibility just based on the design alone. I don't know where this narrative came about that ugly pages can convert and your page doesn't need to look good. I'm sure ugly pages can convert, but if you took that same page and you made it look 10 times better and you actually made the content look organized, clean, chances are it's going to convert 10 times higher than what it was before. Less is more when it comes to design. When someone goes on your landing page, they're looking for direction. If they're presented with so many buttons and elements and things all over the screen, they're going to enter a state of decision paralysis where they just don't know what to do next and they get super overwhelmed. The sheer number of choices alone might cause them not even to scroll down, or even worse, just exit your landing page altogether. We noticed for our client Wildman Drinking that people were getting overwhelmed by the number of bundle options. They would either choose one of the lower priced options or they would just exit the website altogether. We cut down from 5 to 3 bundle options, and what we saw was a 53% lift in the conversion rate and a 13.5% increase in the average order value. Make it easy for users to convert at any stage of the journey. Visitors don't always land on your page and just convert immediately. Most often than not, they're going to spend their time going through your page, going through your sections, maybe even getting distracted along the way. And so that's why you need to strategically place CTA buttons scattered throughout every key section of your page, so that whether somebody's at the top of your page, the middle, or the bottom, there's always a call to action button to capitalize on their interest and help capture that lead or sale. We actually saw this for Influence Hunter on their click map data, where people were actually clicking on the CTA buttons towards the middle and the bottom of the page. Even if it's in the top navigation, doesn't matter. You need to keep the button top of mind so that people convert. Fast is good, but don't butcher design just for loading speed. There's this narrative floating around that page speed is the end all be all. And I'm not talking about obvious scenarios. If your page takes more than 10 seconds to load, obviously I'm not going to wait around for it to load. But I'm talking about people that are obsessing over saving seconds or milliseconds. And often they're actually sacrificing design in the process of doing that. And a fast page will definitely not fix a terrible design. Clutter sometimes is not the problem, it's poor hierarchy. I personally believe that there's no such thing as a cluttered page. You can still take a lot of information and present it in a manner that's easy to digest and easy on the eyes. It all comes down to something called visual hierarchy, which is guiding people's eyes to where you want attention to go. One way to do this is to use headings, subheadings, and white space to really organize your content and guide the user's eyes. You want to break complex information into small digestible chunks through the form of icons and infographics. And you want to prioritize the most important information using things like size, color, font, weights, etc. Avoid dead zones and wasted usage of space. You have to start thinking of your landing page as every section is important and every section is basically trying to get permission from people to continue scrolling down on your page. But what I often see is landing pages like this that just completely has wasted real estate. Look at the size of this image where it's literally taking up like 50% of the page. It's so much wasted real estate. All of this can be consolidated into a landing page like this that we did, where more information is displayed up front without overwhelming people, which is naturally going to lead to more people scrolling and ultimately converting, guaranteed. Design flows best when you actually follow how people scan. People don't typically read top to bottom. People actually scan in an F or Z pattern. That's why placing your headline, subheadline, and CTA along those patterns tends to work really, really well. It's how we naturally consume content. If you ignore this, your messaging gets missed. But if you design with those patterns in mind, your landing page will flow and convert effortlessly. Our client in the education space did not keep this principle in mind with their old landing page where the text was right aligned and the hamburger menu was on the right. We fixed all of this for them on mobile, playing into that F and Z pattern, and this actually led to a 74% increase in leads and conversions on just mobile alone. Always be clear over clever. It's super easy to fall into the trap of making your landing page stand out through unconventional layouts, quirky copy, and just flashy design. If that creativity comes at the cost of clarity, you're losing conversions. Your page needs to answer 3 questions instantly. What is this? Who is this for? And what should I do next? If those answers are not obvious within seconds, you've already lost a huge potential chunk of customers. Reduce clutters, remove distraction, and just keep everything focused on one clear action. A long landing page doesn't kill conversions, bad structure does. For years, everyone's talking about what the perfect landing page looks like in terms of length. I'm here to tell you that there's nothing wrong with a long landing page as long as every section is adding value and getting people one step closer to conversion. When you do it right, long landing pages actually give you the opportunity to further explain your pain points, your customer's dream state, their end goals, their motivations. It actually affords you that opportunity. When you look at many of our landing pages, you will notice that they're several sections long because it actually gives us the opportunity to present the problem and the solution for the customer, also enabling higher conversion rates as well. A landing page is not just for the purposes of ads. A lot of people have this misconception, and I've actually got comments on the YouTube channel as well. They think of landing pages in the traditional sense. It's basically a page that you drive paid traffic to. However, a lot of marketers, including myself, like to think of a landing page more broadly as any page that somebody first lands on. And not everyone is going to click on your ad. A handful of people will actually search up your brand name on Google and land on your homepage as the first page. That is why I like to treat every page like it's a landing page, whether it's your website or it's a page dedicated for ads. We rank for multiple keywords on Google via organic SEO for cities in Ontario, Canada. If you actually go to these pages, they're literally treated like landing pages following the principles that I'm literally talking about right now. Always answer the question, why should I care? You need to immediately convey this in the first 5 seconds, but also as I continue scrolling down the page in each and every section. What is that tangible benefit of your product or service, and how does it actually benefit me in my day-to-day life? I like to use AI and ChatGPT to come up with inspiration in literally a matter of seconds, and you can actually do that using my landing page prompt framework in the description below. Just take some of these prompts and throw it into ChatGPT, and you'll literally come up with high converting headlines in a matter of seconds. This is a quick before and after headline that we did for the elite practice, which led to an 83% increase in leads. Research always starts before design and development. For any landing page project we do, before we touch even a single pixel of code or design, we try to get really deep on who the audience is. We understand their pain points, their needs, their wants, their dream state, their goals, their motivations. Then we start designing and developing. We actually go the extra mile and create deliverables called user personas and journey maps, where we're basically thinking about how does the user go from a typical journey from the moment they think of a solution to the moment they get on the website or landing page to the moment that they actually come up with a decision. This helps us really empathize with users and really hyper focus that landing page to resonate with what users actually care about. And that is why our landing pages convert substantially higher than industry average. Always design things in Figma first. Many people like to jump straight into development, and that is a big no-no. It is very difficult to make changes in the development phase as compared to the design phase when you use a tool like Figma, which is basically a prototyping tool. Using Figma, you can easily make changes to copy, design, layout, structure. You can move things around very easily, and it allows you to be way more agile and get feedback fast. So we always map out our designs in Figma first for desktop and mobile, and then we'll hand it off to development to basically create pixel perfect landing pages. Reducing FUDs is crucial. If you've ever hesitated before on making a purchase of a product or service, you've probably had that voice in your head saying, is this worth it? How do I know if this is legit or not? What if it doesn't work? That hesitation is what kills conversions. You need to address it head on in what I like to call FUDs, which is fear, uncertainty, doubts. If you don't address it head on, your visitors will basically walk away without ever converting. Easy ways you can do this are things like free trials, guarantees, but even having social proof, having testimonials, case studies, backing up exactly what you're saying and showing transformations of other people and other clients. There's no such thing as best practices. Don't get me wrong. There are certain principles that hold true, like having a user-friendly website or a streamlined navigation. But the difference is the manner in which you implement those will vary from brand to brand and audience to audience. There's no one size fits all. Take the classic 3-click rule, for example. People think that you need to be able to find something in 3 clicks or less. But I would challenge that notion. Having more than 3 clicks is not inherently bad. If your product or service is complicated, requires longer sales cycles, having more than 3 clicks is actually beneficial because it's actually playing into people's user journey and people want to learn more information about your product or service before they buy. Arbitrary rules like this just completely ignore context, and it can actually end up hurting your conversions as opposed to helping it. People buy with emotion, not logic. We like to think as humans that we're logical decision makers, but the reality is that most people make purchasing decisions based on emotions first. When a person comes to your landing page, they're likely feeling something. Maybe they're frustrated by a deep-rooted problem that they've been struggling with for a long time. Maybe they have that really deep goal and inner desire that they haven't been able to hit for a long period of time. That is that feeling that you need to tap into through the form of design. For this tanning e-commerce brand, we basically revamped their hero section by taking their before hero section, which didn't really play into any sort of emotions, and transformed it into something that actually features happy, smiling people using the product in hand. That is going to create that emotional resonance with people coming to the page. Your landing page should mimic a sales call. When you go into a sales call, you're not going to go and pitch somebody straight away. Typically, you're going to try to understand their pain points, understand their goals, and then craft a solution based on that. You want to think of your landing page in the exact same manner. You want to first establish their pain point, understand that you've heard them, acknowledged it, build that trust and rapport, and then you go in and lead with the solution. You don't start with the features, you start with the problem. You relate to their pain, you build trust, you build rapport, and then you go with your solution after. If it takes more than 5 seconds to figure out what you do, you've already lost them. You literally have 5 seconds or less to make a positive first impression of somebody coming to your landing page. Your headline, your subheadline, your visuals, it should all work in conjunction with one another to basically answer that question of, is this for me? In the old version of our client site for Inboxy, that end benefit was not immediately clear in the first 5 seconds or less. We fixed that through their headline and subheadline to basically clearly articulate what that benefit or end outcome is and the manner in which they achieve that through their proprietary method. This led to a 146% increase in their conversion rate just from this test alone. A/B tests with no results are not failures, they're actually gold mines. When your A/B test loses and it shows no result, that doesn't mean it's wasted effort, it just means you've ruled out an ineffective variable. You have to understand, why did that test lose? Because what that'll do is when you look at that data, your next set of tests can improve upon that failing test. Failed tests often uncover patterns or reveal strategies that can then be used in subsequent tests. And this is what I like to call the snowball effect. I cannot tell you you how many times we've had a failed test for a client where we try to understand why did that test lose, and then the next few tests we run hit it out of the park. Use directional cues to guide the user's eyes. This is one of my favorite design techniques to increase conversions. One of the ways we've done this is like for a client, Awesome Inc., where we creatively position the person on the image banner to make them actually look at the form, which is what we want people to do, and actually complete that action. We also did this for a client, Wildman Drinking, where we took this image and pointed it down towards the text to incentivize more scroll through and engagement with the site. We've seen conversion increases easily by upwards of 40 to 60% just by implementing this one technique. Mobile deserves its own layout. It's not a scaled down desktop. Button places, image sizes, visual hierarchy, all of that needs to be completely rethought out just for mobile specifically. This is why when we design any landing page, we create a completely separate design for mobile with a completely separate set of specifications as compared to desktop. Check out this mobile design. It's basically to just copy paste their desktop design and put it onto mobile. We revamped their entire hero section and created a mobile specific design where things actually look good and flow well on mobile from top to bottom, and there's a clear set of visual hierarchy. And this is actually something we do as part of our free audit offering, link in the description below. Make your testimonials look credible. I see so many brands putting testimonials on their website just for the sake of it without establishing any level of credibility whatsoever. Take for example this site that doesn't even have an image for their testimonials. Now compare that to this example where I actually have images of people using the product or service that I can actually verify and trust, and it makes it look 10 times more legitimate. People trust reviews a lot more when you actually put a photo of the person leaving the review and the source in which the review was left, whether it's Google, Capterra, whatever it may be. Motion and animation can actually be super effective. Motion is one of the most underrated strategies and techniques to help people visualize something and also incentivize them to take action. Take for example this landing page that we did for Tapley, where we actually show how the platform works, or this landing page where we've creatively displayed inputs going into a machine and getting outputted as outcomes. Animations, when used tastefully, can actually breathe life into your design and incentivize people to take action and increase conversions. Too much emphasis means no emphasis. Take for example this landing page. The irony in trying to emphasize everything, where everything is screaming at the page, there's all cap letters, all big fonts, they've emphasized nothing at all. Compare that to this, where there's an actual clear hierarchy from top to bottom. There's a bold headline, the body text stands out as a separate color, it's more subtle, and that CTA button also stands out on the page as a separate color. You need to establish breathing room for key elements and make sure that whatever you're trying to emphasize is bolded and larger in size, and doing the opposite for things that you want to emphasize less. The best landing pages feel like a story. Every section on your landing page should naturally lead into the next, almost like you're flipping pages in a book. This means consistent spacing, typography, and also just building sections that naturally build on top of one another. Constantly be testing. No matter how good your landing page looks or how well it's performing, there's always something more that can be done. The copy, the offer, the design, the structure, there's always something that can be optimized further. The beautiful part about testing is you can quickly determine what works and what doesn't. That'll basically allow you to establish a snowball effect where you can start stacking wins on top of each other, and it basically creates compounding growth in your conversion rate. For our client Wildman Drinking, there was a lot of hesitation around the price of the product. What we hypothesized is that moving the price further down on the page and building more trust building elements before it would increase conversions. When the first test won, we kept adding more and more elements and pushing the price further down. Just based off that one hypothesis alone, we netted over 80% plus lift in conversions for Wildman Drinking. Winning the click is only step one. Post-click is the real game. Your landing page needs to deliver on the initial promise from the thing that got people to click in the first place, whether it's an ad or an email. Your landing page needs to mirror the messaging, the look and feel, the design. The smoother that transition, the more seamless the experience will be, and the more likely people are to convert. Your customers already wrote your copy for you. You just have to listen. It's in their reviews, their support emails, their sales calls. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, take the words that your customers are giving you, their objections, their pain points, and re-inject that and reinfuse it back into your landing page. FAQs can be your secret weapon if they're used properly. If you do FAQs properly, you can literally address all of your customers' objections and pain points in real time. The way to get this information is just like collecting copy. Go through every sales call, every customer inquiry, every customer support ticket, and literally take all this data and throw it into an Excel sheet or a ChatGPT and just ask it, what are the most common objections mentioned throughout all of these items? Take that and throw it back onto your landing page. You're going to be a huge step ahead of most people. The more symmetrical your design, the more stable it feels. Symmetry creates a sense of balance. It's visually calming, and it's going to make your landing page feel way more organized and trustworthy. That is why symmetrical layouts often perform so well. If you decide to break symmetry, it needs to be done on purpose. Unless you're trying to prove a point, you don't want to go with an asymmetrical layout. Take a look at this page. Everything is off. The spacing's off. The alignment is off. People coming to this landing page are just not going to trust the company. They're going to say, this company hasn't taken the time to actually invest in their brand and their brand image. They're going to be way less likely to convert. Conversion rate is just a vanity metric. If the lead quality or the sales quality is not also there, a high conversion rate doesn't really matter if the leads that you get are crap and don't end up buying anything. And if you're an e-commerce store and somebody buys your products, it doesn't really matter if they're not going to come back to buy more products. So you have to really focus on filtering out bad fits through your copy and through your landing page design. The beauty of this approach is it's actually going to help your advertising efforts a lot more, because you're basically telling Meta and Google that this is the customers that are actually converting and are good fits, and it's going to train the algorithm to target more people just like that. Don't get me wrong, these are all great pieces of advice, but if you're watching this, there's a chance that what you really need is a 4-step blueprint on how to build a killer landing page, which is why I made the next video where I literally walk you through the 4 steps that I use every single time I make a landing page in order to make websites that have literally generated millions of dollars in revenue, so that you can follow the process for yourself and learn how to make a high converting, high quality landing page for your business no matter what you do. I'll see you there.